All right, so now we are going to talk about the 7 common traits of an entrepreneur. All right, so we already covered the 6 P's, that help nurture an entrepreneur spirit. Now, don't get these confused with 7 traits of an entrepreneur. All right, these are 2 completely different things: the entrepreneur spirit and the traits of an entrepreneur. 2 different things. All right, you'll understand it as we go further into this course, but for now, just stick with me, stay with me. This is all gonna come full circle. It's gonna all make sense, but hold on to everything that I say, but do not wrap your head around it so much to where you can't allow yourself to understand. Don't. Right now, you're just a sponge and you're soaking up this knowledge. Then I'm going to show you later on how to put all of this into play. All right, so let's go into the 7 common traits of an entrepreneur. Now, I'm going to start this off with saying not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. And I know that sounds so contradictory because of earlier I said anyone can become an entrepreneur. Anyone can become an entrepreneur, but not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. That's a very profound statement right there. So let me dive into that a little bit before we get started on the 7 traits. All right, not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur, because not everyone is, but anyone can become an entrepreneur because of what you become. You're not born an entrepreneur. I don't care what anyone says. No one is born an entrepreneur. You don't just come out at birth and say, hey, I'm going to build a business. Now, you could have some of the traits to be an entrepreneur. You can develop those over time. But even still, without the entrepreneurial spirit being nurtured, those traits mean nothing. How many people have you met in this world where you say, oh, they're great problem solvers, but they work at Microsoft solving problems for Bill Gates instead of their own business? All right? You can have the traits, but if you don't have the entrepreneurial spirit, you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. But anyone can become an entrepreneur, but not everyone is cut out to be one. All right? There's specific traits that you have to have in order to find success as an entrepreneur. And to see these results that you're looking for in your entrepreneurial journey, you have to begin to develop some of the same characteristics that are commonly found in successful entrepreneurs. Successful people have certain habits and ways of conducting themselves, and this provides them with the ability to accomplish more during the day and allows them to have the right mindset. When some people are born with these characteristics, like we talked about, most people who are dreaming of becoming successful entrepreneurs have to work to develop these traits and incorporate them into their daily lives, the entrepreneurial spirit. Here are 7 characteristics that you need to possess if you want to find success as an entrepreneur. The first one, and probably the most overlooked, probably the one that most of us have the biggest problem with, all right? Tenacity. The first characteristic that most successful entrepreneurs possess is tenacity. Now, I know tenacity has certain meanings in certain different fields and certain aspects of life, but we're talking about business. When it comes to business, tenacity means that you don't take failure personally. And you keep working, sometimes for years, to get the things that you want in your life. A tenacious entrepreneur will never give up and can bounce back when they face setbacks or run into challenges. And when they run into roadblocks and experience setbacks, they just don't give up. Instead, they try something new or try doing it another way. Other people tend to give up and quit when they become frustrated or when something's too hard. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, they just shrug it off. They shrug it off their shoulders, move forward with their plan. It's often wrongly assumed that successful people don't experience failure. However, they have a higher instance of experiencing failures in their lives because they never give up trying. The difference between successful people and the rest of the population is that people who are successful understand that failure is part of the game and continue moving forward in the face of failure. If you talk to any successful entrepreneur and they tell you that they've never failed, they're a damn liar. They're lying to your face at that point and at that time. You can look at them and you can honestly look them directly in the eyes, and with a straight face, you can say you are a fucking liar, because every successful entrepreneur has failed. Even after success, they continue to fail, but their tenacity allows them to just, let's try it a different way, or let's try something new. That's what being a tenacious entrepreneur is. And that is the first characteristic that you have to have. Tenacity. All right? Everyone fails. If you fail and you quit, you'll never succeed at anything in this world. Or you're actually admitting to the fact that you don't like a challenge in life. You want all of the easy things. But the easier it is to obtain, the less valuable it is. And also, the worse that you'll treat it. You'll never appreciate it because it was so easy to obtain. And if you don't like a challenge, being an entrepreneur is not for you, because every day is challenging. You deal with challenges every day, and that's what makes you amazing. That's what makes an entrepreneur amazing. Taking a challenge, looking at it, taking a problem, looking at it, and saying, I want to fix that. I want to create the solution that changes this world. All right? The next one. And you've seen this one already because it is one of the 6 P's that help nurture the entrepreneurial spirit. But it's so important that it's also a trait of an entrepreneur. And guess what that is? Yep. Passion. It's a common assumption that successful entrepreneurs are driven by money. However, most entrepreneurs will tell you that they're driven by their passion for their product or service. They're driven by their need to solve a problem and make life better, more comfortable, and in some instances cheaper. They believe that they will be able to change the world. They're excited by what they're doing and believe that their passion will get them through the difficult times. Having a passion that is based on your business's specific mission provides an intricate drive and belief that the eternal reward will help you sustain between many paydays. It's your passion for what you do that will push you to go the extra mile. Your passion will provide you with excitement to go to work every day and to get things done. You'll be excited to see what can happen. All right? Now I want to back up on that a little bit. Your passion is going to help you sustain in between paydays. Remember we talked about that instant gratification? Entrepreneurs do not look for that. It's money. Money can be a motive. Money can be a motive. Hey, I want to become a millionaire. But if that is your passion, that's horrible, and you're probably going to fail. Here's why. I want to become a millionaire. For what? We talked about your why before, right? So it should sound something like this. I want to become a millionaire so I can create generational wealth for my family. That is a why. That is your passion. Your passion isn't the money. Your passion is what that money can create for you, your family, and those around you. That is your actual passion. And that passion is your why. And that why, coupled with your passion, should be able to drive you even when things look their worst. Even when things are difficult or it seems like you just aren't going to make it. You aren't going to be able to reach that goal. You aren't going to be able to, you're not going to be able to get that internal reward that you were expecting. But it's okay, because your passion is going to push you forward, and it makes you, it will create an excitement. an excitement in your business. It will create an excitement for you to get up and go in every day. Even if you know, man, I haven't seen a penny in a week, 2 weeks. But you love and you're so passionate about what you do that money doesn't matter. And I'll tell you this, the minute that you let go and stop looking for money, stop chasing money, is the minute that money will actually begin to chase you. Money is like the most beautiful woman at the bar. She walks in and every man wants to talk to her. Every man wants to hit on her. Every man wants her number. And she expects it all the time. But those are the men that are the least attractive to her. They're the least attracted to her. I mean, they're the least attracted by her. She's not attracted to him, is what I'm trying to say. Because she's used to it. They're always after her. And then you walk into the bar, say hi to her, walk past her, go get a drink. And she's like, well, how come he didn't ask for my number? Is there something wrong with me? Why does he have no interest in me? Why is he not hounding me or chasing me? And then you instantly become the most attractive person in that room to her. So chances are she'll come and approach you. And that's how you have to look at money. If you're always chasing money, money's always going to run from you. All right? When you stop chasing money, money says, well, how come you don't want me? What's wrong with you? And then it comes to you. All right? The next one, since I rambled on about passion for too long, because guess what? I'm passionate about passion. We'll talk about tolerance of ambiguity. Let's try that again. Are we going to cut that out of here? Nope. All right, so let's keep it rolling. Tolerance of ambiguity. Sorry, I can never say that word. Tolerance of ambiguity. You gotcha. This personality trait is defined merely by the ability to withstand the fear of uncertainty and potential failure. Successful entrepreneurs are naturally inherent risk takers. That's what you do. You take the risks that the rest of the world won't take. The ability to control one's anxiety is the most characteristic of successful entrepreneurs. It's the most critical characteristic of successful entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs face an abundance of fears. The fear of humiliation, the fear of running out of cash, the fear of missing payroll, the fear of having to declare bankruptcy. The list goes on and on and on. And you have way more responsibility on your back. As a 9-to-5 employee, if you don't complete the task, you get fired, right? Or you get a warning, or you get written up, or you don't get promoted. As an entrepreneur, if you don't meet a deadline, if you're not able to provide the service that you promised, if you're not able to deliver on the product that you advertised, you risk your business closing. And when your business closes, you have employees with families that are counting on you for payroll. Now, when you go down, you don't just lose your business. They lose their livelihoods. You have that on your shoulders at all times as a business owner. That is one of the greatest fears of my own, honestly. But to have that tolerance to look fear in the face and still push forward with your plan. Know that everything's going to be okay. And have a plan in place. Contingency plans on top of contingency plans. Plan A through Z if you need to. Because most of the time, A's not going to work, B's not going to work, C's not going to work. But it's okay. You have those plans. And you have the mindset to know that you can tolerate plan A through C not working. And know that D might not work too. But it is there. All right? You don't have a safety net. You create your own safety net. All right? The ultimate entrepreneurial test happens on the mental battlefield. I've talked about that before. Mentality is the hardest thing to cultivate as an entrepreneur. Having all the money to invest and build a business is great. But the person running your business, which is usually you, the entrepreneur, your mentality has to be amazing. All right? And that's where all of the fighting happens. That's where everything happens mentally. All right? It's in you. You have to decide to either go with the fear and quit, or push through the fear and move forward into pursuing your goals. All successful entrepreneurs always push through the fear. Always. They're able to control their thoughts and mentally commit to their plan and the actions that follow. The entrepreneur will look at the situation and know that they have some control over the outcome. Might not be the greatest outcome. Might not have all the control that they want over the outcome, but they have some control. And they take that control that they have and they make the best of it. But they never let fear stop them from moving forward. All right? Now, on to the next one. Vision. One of the defining traits of all entrepreneurs is their ability to spot an opportunity and imagine something where others haven't. All right? I want to talk about an acronym that you'll probably, if you follow me on social media in any way, you hear me use this, or if you've ever had a conversation with me, you hear me talk about this. And one of my mentors actually taught me about this, Dan Elias. I love that guy to death. But he was the one who taught me about the acronym POOR, P-O-O-R, passing over opportunities repeatedly. All right, a lot of people think that that is a financial status, poor. But in all honesty, being poor is a mental state, passing over opportunities repeatedly. All right, think about how many opportunities that you've come across that you've passed over because of fear, being skeptical, or imposter syndrome, or believing that you weren't capable of doing it, or it just isn't the right time to do it. All of us, we've passed over so many opportunities. Passing over opportunities repeatedly. All right, remember that, because that will come up again. But entrepreneurs have an inherent curiosity about the world around them that provides them with the ability to identify overlooked niches and put them at the forefront of innovation and emerging fields. They're able to imagine another world and have the ability to communicate their visions to others. And you think about this. I'm an 80s baby, so I was born in 86. I remember at that time, 86 was the year the Super Famicom, or what we call the regular, not the Super Famicom, the Famicom, as they would call it in Japan, but the Nintendo, what they called it here. It was an 8-bit system that came out, and Mario was one of the first games. You had Mario and you had Duck Hunt, right? Now before then, you had the Atari, the Commodore, the ColecoVision, and they had little dots you would see on the screen. You could play ping pong with them. Little tiny itty bitty dots, and we played with that for hours. Then Mario came out, and you could actually see a character's face jump around. The collision detection was amazing. It was just revolutionary, and we thought it was so amazing. And then the first 3D system came out, right? And then now, when you walk into a room, it was a couple of years ago. I walked into a friend's house and he was playing Madden, and I was like, it's not even football season. What are you watching? And I'm sitting here watching him play the game, but I didn't see the controller in his hand. And I'm thinking that I'm actually watching an actual game. An actual game. I think it was he was using the Colts and he was playing against the Bills. And I'm like, I didn't even know that they were due to play. Now, here's the thing. My point is, the screen looks so real. It looks so real. It looked like actual players in the NBA were in the NFL were actually going at it. My point to this whole thing is, someone had to see that vision. From those little dots bouncing around on the ping pong table for the ColecoVision and the Atari, someone had to see, hey, we can do more with this. Someone had to have a vision to push that forward, because back then I would have never imagined that. I thought that was the zenith, the peak of video gaming, and then it just kept getting better. We went crazy when the internet came out, but somebody had to envision us being able to reach each other through little digital devices and communicate with each other. And if you were around with when you had to plug your landline into a modem and you heard that beep 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 beep, you heard all that stuff, and then you would finally finish loading, and then someone would pick up the phone and throw you off the internet. I thought that was the peak, that was the zenith, that was everything. We were gonna deal with that forever. Then somebody came up with DSL, and then we thought that was amazing. Then Wi-Fi came out. Oh my God, I don't need any wires to connect. And then your phone is more. This little phone is more powerful than the supercomputer in the 80s, possibly in the 90s. That little phone is more powerful than the supercomputer in the 90s. That's amazing. That's something to think about. That's a vision that someone had and made that to happen. So successful entrepreneurs are always looking for ways to change the things around them and make them different, unique, better. They're always willing to take a risk to see their vision become a reality, because they know it's gonna be something big. All right? Self-confidence. A critical entrepreneur trait is self-confidence. If you don't believe that you have what it takes to do something, then chances is you won't succeed in your business venture. Because if you don't believe in yourself, why the hell would you expect someone else to? How can you portray your self-confidence when you're presenting your product, when you're presenting your service, when you're face-to-face with a client? You don't portray self-confidence. If you try to talk to me about your service or your business without portraying self-confidence, then I would have no confidence in your product or your service, because people don't buy your product or service. They buy you. And if you're not confident, then I'm not confident in you. You have to have faith in your thoughts and your opinions, and know that you're capable of accomplishing anything you put your mind to achieve it. You have to be sure that your product or service is something that the world needs, and you can deliver it to overcome the naysayers in your life, whether it be family, friends, anyone. Researchers describe this as a task-specific confidence. It's a belief that turns the risk proportion around you and provides you with the assurance that you can get the job done based on the research you've conducted. You have to have the confidence and be willing to take calculated risk. I'll say that again. You have to have the confidence and be willing to take calculated risk. Not just risk, calculated. You can't just run out there and say, I'm confident that I'll be able to throw this rock up and it'll hit the sun. I could have went with a better example, but as ludicrous as that sounds, I think I'm going to stick with it, because you know that the sun is miles away. I don't even know how they measure that. I think they say light years. Why would you make the claim that you can throw a rock up to actually hit the sun, and then pronounce it or proclaim it to the world? How risky is that? Your brand, your service, when you make claims like that, or when you take risk like that, it's not calculated at all. That was just something you said out of your face, and that was just a stupid risk to take. A calculated risk. It's something that you can measure, something that you have proof that you can be able to do, something that's evidence-based, tested, researched. Calculate your risk before you take them. But successful entrepreneurs know that they're right and they're confident that they're making the right decisions for their life and their business. All right. Flexibility. Stay with me. We're almost done. We got two more. We got flexibility. Your ability to survive in business depends on your ability to adapt and be flexible to a continually changing world, a continually changing industry, and a continuously changing market. The final product or service that you offer will look different from what you started. That's why you have betas, you have prototypes. You should be adapting. And flexibility is what allows you to respond to the changing taste and market conditions, and is essential if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. If you're unable to remain flexible in your journey to entrepreneurial success, you're gonna be in for a huge disappointment. And this is because in business, something will, can, has, and will continue to eventually go wrong. Expect it. Expect it. Embrace it. And those who are successful understand that things aren't going to always go the way that you want or plan. They're able to see when things are going to go off track, figure out why they're going off track, and make the necessary adjustments to get back on track, to pivot. All right? I have a great friend, Jill Gubeau, CEO of New You Cooking and Consulting. She consults and she's a chef for vegan foods. Now, when prior to the pandemic, she was able to meet in person. She was able to do consulting in person, cooking in person, and then guess what? The pandemic happened. Now, she could have shut her doors. She could have quit. She could have said, well, I can't do this. But what she did was nothing short of amazing. She was able to be flexible. She was able to pivot. She was able to adapt. And she took all of her coaching and moved it virtual. She moved it virtual. She started reaching out to people virtually. She started creating cooking plans for people that they can do at home through her recipes and through her coaching. And that's how her business was able to pivot. Now, I know a lot of other business owners were not able to make that change. They were not able to be flexible and adapt to the market, adapt to the situation. But once you learn how to do that, no situation is going to be able to stop you in your tracks, all right? Time management. The difference between successful people and the rest of the population is that they're able to properly manage the time that they have. Now, let's break this down before we go forward. There are 24 hours in a day. You get 24 hours, I get 24 hours. There's no way to get more time. Now, if you built a time machine to where you can give yourself a little more time, please let me know. I really would like to rent that from you. Just let me know the price because, yeah, I would really like to rent that from you. But as far as I know, there's no time machine. So you get 24 hours, I get 24 hours. That equates to 1,440 minutes every day. No one gets more, no one gets less. What do you do with yours? Which equals out to 86,000 and something seconds a day. 86,000 seconds a day. What are you doing with that time? Ask yourself that question, all right? That's a lot of time. 24 hours a day is a lot of time. Successful entrepreneurs, they're highly organized individuals, which allows them to complete tasks without wasting time. This results in them being able to accomplish more throughout the day without having to put in excessive hours. Now, developing these characteristics and incorporating them into your daily life can make your entrepreneurial venture much more manageable, and can help you reach success, the success you've always dreamed of possessing. So I asked you that question earlier because I want you to take some time to look at your life and see which of these characteristics you already possess and which ones you need to develop out of those 7 traits. You don't have to have any of them in abundance. but they do need to be present. And as we continue to move forward, I need you to work on these. Work on each individual one, because the stronger that each one becomes, the better entrepreneur you become and the more equipped you are to take on this journey and walk out of it successful. You're going to get some war wounds. You're going to get some battle scars. We're going to fall. We're going to get back up. But we're going to keep going. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. I mentioned grit before. That's what I want to talk to you guys about in the next video. So stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video, and let's keep building.